Hi guys, welcome to the To Home Back podcast. Do you know what? I've not been on the hosting range for a long time, and it's taken an impromptu emergency podcast in what is quite alarming. Can I say alarming situation at the minute?
That's putting it politely and nicely, to be fair.
Yeah, like I was meant to be having a nice night tonight. It's wedding eve for my uncle, right? I'm meant to be having a nice, relaxing night. And City come out, and it's looking like we've been handed an impending three transfer window embargo, which means that we won't be able to sign any players for any fees until January 2027. And this is in regards, apparently, to a £1 million loan fee that we owe Aston Villa about Louis Barry. But then it's come to light, apparently, that there's also other bits, local suppliers, other teams. I think the biggest question is tonight, are we seeing the real situation of Hull City? Is Adrian hoodwinked us all? Or is this just something that can be resolved and the appeal's going to be winning? It's all going to be a big blow in the water. So I think there's a lot of vitriol online. There's a lot of "I told you so"s. There's a lot of worry. There's a lot of defence. This is the kind of thing that you get supporting a football club, unfortunately. But I am joined tonight, obviously, by Will, AD, and Christian tonight for Emergency Pod. No Joe or Nathaniel. They're probably in bed, to be fair to them, poor lads. But welcome, guys. How are we all doing?
Evening, Ant.
Yeah, evening, and that's us. How can you start, mate? Seriously.
I was enjoying a nice, peaceful evening, listening to records and doing absolutely bugger all. And then Hull City decided to set itself on fire.
Never dull being a Hull fan, is it? And it's been said numerous times that it's never dull being a Hull fan. You know what I feel sorry for? I feel sorry to the thousands of people that are subscribed to a Hull and Back podcast that have just got a notification at 10 to 11 on a Thursday night to say, we're live, hello.
Hey,
The thing is,
to be fair, we are
probably
currently, as it stands, we are on 170 live viewers, which I think for this this part of night shows the concern amongst the fan base at the minute. And
Yeah.
obviously, before we get into it, obviously a big shout out to sponsors, Old Zoological Bar, Jimmy Chew down there, and Carl at Old Kingfisher Fish and Chips down on Springbank West. Obviously, they help bring us these podcasts on a weekly basis. But like it's been a summer where obviously we've tried to have a few weeks off. It's been a very negative season last season. We've been on here. You've heard us all rant on here about we started the season with the likes of Tim Volter. It didn't get much better. We survived by the skin of our teeth by the end of the season. And the last thing we wanted to do was come on here in summer and have to talk about something like this. But I think that this is a lot of people tagged us, Discord, Twitter, etc., about, maybe doing an emergency podcast. I think a lot of people have got a lot of thoughts to spare on this. I mean, I think the first thing is this a real worry? Is this something that is going to be resolved, or is it genuinely, are we heading to League One? What's going on, AD? I'll come to you first. You've got, I believe we've got a few quotes in relation to this that might help us, pictures, etc., that we can bring up. Because as far as I'm aware from the Q&A, Adrian said everything was fine, wasn't it? There's no worries.
Do you know what? I'm a little bit gutted to be on here tonight, to be honest. And it's not often you hear me say things like this, but I thought it was starting to look a little bit more positive with him saying that, he was going to donate a bit more time to Hull City this year. We've made a new manager appointment. We're talking about transfers coming in. And then all of a sudden, this hits and you're like, my God, why? And I think the thing with it is there's been I've tweeted tonight. I know lots of other people have tweeted tonight, but at one point it said was £60 million in debt to one person, and I've looked up tonight just out of interest. What's his net worth? And his net worth is £200 million. Now, when your net worth's £200 million, that means you own properties, you own this, you own that. You haven't actually got £200 million in the bank to spend. It's what you own as an actual full thing. And to have 60 million owing to a guy who's only got £200 million worth of assets himself, it's an awful lot of money. And people have said it's not 60 million, but me and you have sort of looked at this, haven't we? We've tweeted about it, and it's probably going to be in the region of that after the new accounts come out.
I would imagine so. Obviously, we spent, I think it was rumoured to be £25 million last summer. So even if we take into account, the Jacob Greaves and Jayden Philogene sales, Philogene I think both of them, I've been vocal on here before about, I think the fee that we got for both of those was well below what we should have got. I think we've lowballed all of our three big earners since we've since the takeover in terms of Lewis Potter, Philogene and Greaves. I think we could have got far more for the three of them, especially with the comments beforehand about not selling for less than anything that they were worth, and then taking what was I think very, very low ball offers in the end.
I believe it was 30 million for each of them. So
Yeah.
and they went for less than 30 million combined.
Yeah. And then you've got to think about the amount of money that we've spent since the takeover on a lot of players. I mean, our turnover of players is something that a lot of people have pointed out on. We've pointed out on regularly on this before. The turnover of players every single transfer window can't be sustainable. The amount of wages that we've paid on some players, the fees that we've paid on some players. I mean, you think back to last season, 4 million on Kamara, 5 million combined on the likes of Joseph and Burstow. You've got the money that we've wasted on Cynic. We've been a bit of a basket case in terms of transfer and recruitment since the takeover, really, and I'm not really sure that this could come as much as a surprise. What's your thoughts on it, Will?
It's pretty much what you just said. It's kind of crept up on us a little bit, but when you actually look back, it's quite obvious there's an issue there. That plain as day, but you kind of don't want to look at it.
Yeah. Christian, so what I believe, because I'm recording this off the phone, so it's a bit of a nightmare for me to get any quotes or any like sort of screenshots and stuff in regards to this. I believe you've got some. What was Adrian saying in regards to the Q&A last time? Alleviating everybody. I mean, this is what, like a couple of days ago. Last night was it? Did it day before? When was
3
it?
days ago.
Q&A was on Monday, wasn't it?
So what? We're completely fine in regards to Adrian. So what's his quote here that he said?
Well, I mean, whoever can, it's up on the screen. As you can see, guys, we don't have any financial problems, apparently. It's true that we're spending a lot of money, which he has done. But apparently the loans are only to himself, and he's not going to ask for these loans. So that's what's definitely the confusing side of it now, obviously, after today, because if we're in financial trouble, whatever we owe Adrian doesn't mean anything, because we're obviously not paying other clubs on time. So forget about what we owe you, Adrian. It is definitely down to what you owe everybody else. And I mean, to come out and say that, do you know what? It's really annoying me, because on Monday night, like most other people, I was one of those people that was really happy with the interview and the Q&A on Monday, and left the evening feeling quite positive. And to the point of where I was like, you know what? Decent looking manager. I liked what was said, all out there. And then I feel, do you know what? We've been lied to. That's it. We've been lied to. And I think that's the thing that's really annoying a lot of the fans more than anything, is what was said on Monday to get back up. And it's just worrying now, guys. It is now worrying, especially with this, especially with the 3-year embargo that's just been put onto ourselves. Now, obviously, we can go into that a bit more detail, where it came from, what it's about, and what that also does mean. Now, it doesn't mean that we cannot sign anybody. It just means that a lot of it has to go through the EFL before anything gets done. So that's a big delay in itself if we ever want to try and get anybody and go along that route. But for 3 years and over a late payment of, I think it was rumoured 30 days late payment of 1 million, it can't just be that. I get it. I get we can get in trouble for that. I'm sure. I mean, what was it? Apparently Hull City were made aware on Monday afternoon. So during the Q&A,
it seems that
already made aware of this.
That it was on Monday afternoon is when the club apparently found out about this. So the club knew about it going into the Q&A.
So we knew about going to Q&A and then blatantly coming out and saying we don't have any financial problems. So that's a blatant lie. And you know what? These new favorite word, secret. We understand why that word is now being used by Ajahn so much and his team, because the truth cannot be coming out. That, by the sounds of it,
it comes into legal troubles at a certain point.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everybody else.
So was we aware of this transfer embargo during the Q&A?
Yes.
Yes, the club had been made aware on Monday afternoon, but obviously, due to the way that you can communicate it, obviously I didn't have to say anything about it until the EFL announced it. But obviously, it was broken by John Percy, the Telegraph, earlier today, and it's all come out.
So what we're saying is that the Ajahn sat in front of everybody there and basically lied to everyone.
Yes, that is literally why. Well, that's the reason why I'm raging.
Unless for some reason, someone at the club has just not told him that this issue has come up, which they won't have done. He will have found out because of the severity of the issue. Then, yeah, what's he doing?
The thing with it is, don't worry, because at least there's a free holiday going on for some people, so it's all good. There's no problem.
Well, now that everybody going will be footing that bill now. I'm pretty sure. Let's have a look at some comments because we've got a lot of people in today. By the way, anybody who's joined in today and they're brand new to the podcast, we've got nearly 400 people watching live tonight. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast already, please do drop a like. It helps us very much. So let's have a look then. So we've got Dan Potter here with I can't see where we'd be in trouble. Business looks solid as houses. I'm not quite sure of that one. Could have just seen a mistake. Ajahn didn't play the loan because of Louis Barry's injury. I can sympathise with his frustration. You see, I don't know. I feel like this when you look back at City's financial dealings. I mean, this is if this is all in regards to Louis Barry's loan fee, that's back in January, man. If we couldn't afford £1 million, like 6 months ago, then what's actually going on?
The thing is, there is a due date for late payments, and that is 30 days. It's been over 100 days since that payment should have been made.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing with this is when you look at it really, and you look at it realistically, it looks like he's done £1 million deal for Barry because he knew that we needed to stay in the division. And I think he thought that Barry was maybe the golden signing that was going to get us the goals to help keep us up easier than what we stayed up. And then obviously Barry gets injured and it don't work. So I think that, obviously that can come into it as well. We know massively, we all know the gamble was done on the season, where we finished 7th and we didn't get into the top 6, and he gambled everything there. And that's where the problems come in, is through that massive gamble. And look, it's not Hull City that it's happened to. It's lots of clubs that it's happened to in the case that people have gambled to try and get in the Premier League. And anybody that's knowledgeable of the Championship knows that gamble doesn't very often pay off.
Yeah, that's the key word, isn't it, Eddie? Gamble.
Yeah.
Gamble. I think I said it beginning of last season that Ajahn does gamble.
Yeah,
he's gambled with signings. He's gambled the way he does business. I mean, look, we can talk about every player that we've got in and out and all the wrong, the wrong fees we've paid and the wrong. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, me when I come to say this guy, but I mean, look at Giles, like 4.5 for Giles.
Yeah,
you ain't recuperating that, and to
commit obligation fees into it.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, like when you overcommit and you gamble on certain things and you don't know how they're going to pan out just because you think it will, because you wish it will. You're hoping the roulette table's going to land on number 14 that you've just put all your chips on. You know, it's
No, it never works for me, Will. Chris, I always lose it.
exactly, and that's the thing that's got us now. We've got into this position where he's gambled too much, and
what do we do?
What was it?
Right, what do we do? Where do we go? What is the process from here now? Because let's be honest, right? So we need a summer transfer rebuild. We knew that from the start.
Yeah, we did.
We've got no goal scorers and we need decent fullbacks. And now we've got to a position where for the next 2 years, we're not going to be able to sign anybody for a fee, right?
Yeah, well, we've got an appeal coming up, but we don't know how that's going to go, especially with all the other things that are probably going to get brought to light after this as well, haven't we?
I mean, Joe put on Twitter, didn't he, earlier that, we should have used more of the youth system. And unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever way you want to look at it, that's the way that we're going to have to do it, isn't it? We're going to have to start using some of the youth because, you can sign frees as long as the EFL approve it. But you can't pay a transfer fee. One thing that I messaged me mate about this earlier because he didn't know, and he put, "Well, don't worry, we started a Premier League season with 14 players, so it's nothing new."
Yeah, I mean, how many times has this club really been in financial trouble? It's more than norm, really.
See, this is the thing, right? So since the takeover, can we say that we've got the majority of the recruitment right?
No.
Well,
We've
look
had a
at
few
how
players.
often we churn every summer.
I think what you've got to say is, right, how many players that are John has signed have we made good money on? Anybody know any players that was signed that he's made good money on?
I'm just thinking.
Because I suppose Philogene the one, isn't he? Philogene was made some money on, and that's it. But the rest of it, where we've got any money, have been from before he came to the club.
Well, that's
we
it.
We didn't make serious money on Philogene because we spent
$5
million on him, and in after the sell-on fee and stuff, we probably got 11 for him, so we made 6 mil on him.
Yeah,
and then everybody else was just a loan. If you think about like that, so it was just fees.
Yeah,
a lot of it. So there's never going to be any profit in a loan. It's always a loss. And especially if, like we say, you put a guaranteed deal to buy at the end of it, that's even a bigger issue.
Yeah, it's a stupid thing, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
a stupid thing, that you're taking massive gambles, and it's just, as I say, we're a funny club, Hull City, and I put on Twitter earlier that I've been watching them for a lot of years, so I've learned to never trust an owner because we've had that many bad owners that it's crazy, isn't it? How many clubs have had as many bad owners as us? And we do need to see some comments from people because I'm sure there's lots of people that are putting comments up, and we could obviously discuss what people's comments are saying. But I can't put them up. Who can?
Yeah,
Will,
it's going to have to be a Will job. This one.
Come on, Will.
To be fair,
I was just trying to think what our last truly good owner was, and is he probably Don Goodman?
I don't know. I'd say Pearson was a good owner, wasn't he?
Pearson was a good owner. Yeah,
he ran as well.
He did.
Yeah, Pearson was a good owner. Never. To be honest, I think I was a little bit gutted when Pearson went. To be fair, at the time.
He never had the financial capabilities of running a football club, I don't think, but he ran it well.
He ran it well, yeah. That was the thing. I mean, if he had some huge investor come along and just keep him on the board every time, because he just knows how to run a club, doesn't he? And it's been his business.
I must say, I'm really loving how he's running Hull FC. Massively loving how he's running that.
And he sold them to billionaires.
Yeah, he has,
Yeah, he has. Yeah, he's done a good job. But that's the thing. Look, guys, let's not get sidetracked on trying to find a new owner already, because it's not going to fix the predicament we're in now, and nothing
But to be fair, that does run us into a question, right? So if there's no point in doing a podcast like this if we're not going to ask the question, has Adrian's position come to a point now where he's got to go?
But look, if it has come to that, what happens there? Who's going to pay however much money he's going to want for Hull
Yeah,
City.
does it become a chancery in the end?
Yeah, there's no way of getting somebody in, paying off the loan that's owed, and coming into a club that's under an embargo. And
No.
that just don't get lifted because you get a new manager, a new owner. Sorry, that doesn't get
No,
lifted.
I mean it can do, can't
So-
it, if everything's sorted out, and I
Back to
think
zero.
they can do certain things, but it is when you think about how much money is owed to him, whether it's 20 million, whether it's 60 million, whether it's somewhere in the middle of there, you've got to think he paid 30 million for the club.
Yeah.
So you're looking at a figure of somewhere in the region of between 50 and 90 million. Who's going to pay that for a club that has no assets? Because
We don't even know
ultimately,
that stadium. That's the problem. We
don't. We have no assets. The only asset that we've really got, and I've always maintained this, that is worth some money, is Cottingham. Because Cottingham, as prime building land, is worth some money. But apart from that, we ain't got a lot of players now, have we? We're not bringing the youth through like we're doing, so we can't really see any value coming through from there. And how much is the value? Somebody tell me, come on, how much is the value of Hull City squad at the moment?
I wouldn't even know where to begin to estimate.
You know what?
Listen, and that's why I'm asking the question, because I ain't got a clue. Sorry, Will.
24 pence?
Right.
I thought I was going to say 24 million.
Estimated value of Hull City as it currently stands is a little over 50 million pounds. A little bit over.
Somebody's been a little bit optimistic.
Who are you getting that from? Imagine.
Total market value of all the players we own and all the assets we own.
50 million. Right, okay.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I think there's only Charlie Hughes, Ivor Panda, and Alzate that's going to be worth any form of money.
Alfie Jones.
Brad, I can answer your question there. Look,
30,
when you're talking about building an academy next to the stadium, there was looking for a lot of funding from places like Sport England and things like that to fund it. There was asking the council to fund some of it because obviously they're saying that they're going to provide a community space and things like that. So that's where the money's come from. And also, if you do get an academy next to the stadium, then you can sell Cottingham, which is worth quite a lot of money for building land, and that's where the money comes from. And so, he ain't got that much fun there, I don't think. I think one of the problems, and I said this earlier to one of my mates, is that the McVitie's deal falling through was a big thing. He made it out to be nothing, but I think it was quite a big thing, that falling through, because a sponsor like McVitie's and the size of them and things like that, losing them was huge.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I think that deal had a lot of. By the way, I've just seen the comment. I don't know why Joe's my profile picture. I am but yeah, I think in regards to because it's Murat Ulka, I think was his name. That was regards to the parent company that owns McVitie's. I think that a lot of that deal had to do with us getting promoted because it's very convenient that it was straight after Rosinia's season where we failed to get the top 6 that the McVitie's deal just vanished. There was no real explanation as to why. It was early. The club just brushed it away and Rosini was sacked. It felt like a lot of what's going wrong right now is because we put a lot of eggs, or pretty much every single egg that we had, plus the chickens and even after their feed in that season. And it's just the failure has had a massive rebound effect that has led to us to where we are now.
I do miss getting the free packs of chocolate hobnobs in the press room. That is a true feeling.
I can't believe, Will. I can't believe that, I helped you, set you up with this gig, and you never ever got me a free pack of chocolate bloody hobnobs.
Scandalous, Will.
Scandalous.
Well, you can't get them anymore. We can't afford it, can we?
I can't help it now.
They're wanting them back.
We need free biscuits more now than ever.
Everybody, we need to turn up with a packet of McVitie's and give them to the owner to sell, don't we? Jesus Christ!
So I think one of the questions is then, so because to some new viewers on here who probably haven't seen us before, we are quite notorious for being quite negative. I mean, to be fair, the last year or so has been pretty dire. So I think to find any form of positivity over the last 12 months is pretty rough. Despite this summer actually being quite optimistic up until now, which has dropped a real bombshell, and I think everyone's quite excited. I think Jakirovic's press conference was really positive. I like the way he speaks. I'm quite optimistic about his win rate as a manager and how he's going to go forwards. We got rid of some high earners. We got a couple of squad players in. Everything seemed to be going quite well. And then we just get this big, vicious backhand slap right across the face, which sort of just sends us tumbling down the stairs to fall down to the floor. And it's just a bit of a reality check. But are we sat here right now as four people and all the viewers maybe and all the people reacting online? Are we being overreactive, or is this a genuine worry that needs to be spoke about?
It's the lying, and it's the Q&A, the knowledge of already what was going on in the background, and turning around saying there's no problems. It's all sunshine, roses, lollipops. You know, that was everything on Monday. It was all lovely dovey. And then to find out that the club already knew this was all going down and just lying live to everybody that was watching, you can't tell me that a lot of people. Guys, I don't usually swear a lot, and thank God this one isn't on the radio with Eddie. But I am pissed. I am seriously pissed at how it was all presented, and
I think the big issue is Chris, isn't it? Ant said it earlier. We watched a season full of absolute dross last season. The season before, we got a little bit of entertainment, but we haven't been entertained at home for ages. And then you get a new manager in who says, I'm going to play attacking, entertaining football. And you're thinking, quite looking forward to this season. And then this comes out today, and you're like, oh my God, we probably aren't going to look forward to this season then, because who's going to play? You know, and this is the thing, isn't it? You've got to think about now who is actually going to stay with us. You know, who have we got to sell to get some money in to try and balance the books? And what happens from now? And I think these are all the questions that fans have got going through their mind, is that ultimately you pay your pass or you pay your ticket to go watch a game of football that you want to try and enjoy, and you're going to struggle with that, I think, now.
Do we think that this situation is going to hamper? I mean, I know obviously we can't sign players for fees and whatnot. Do we think now, in terms of actually convincing a player, free agent, loan, or whatever, to sign for us, has now really been hindered? Like, if you're going to choose to sign for us or another championship club, is our current situation just going to really put players off signing for us, and we're going to lose out again?
Yeah, it's the same as it would put players off wanting to sign for Sheffield Wednesday in their current predicament. Yeah. So you're not going to touch them from a 10-foot barge pole, and it's the same with us.
I mean, there has been the rumor this week, haven't they, about Josh Windus wanting to leave Sheff Wednesday, and then there's people saying, he can come to Hull and all this lot, and you know, he's only just signed a contract with Sheff Wednesday, but because of the predicament, he can go, can't he? And we may end up in a similar position. I'm not saying we are going to, but we could do. And this is the frightening thing about it all, isn't it?
Do we find ourselves in a position where we're going to have to sell players like Panda and Charlie Hughes just to get some form of normality back?
The thing is, that's suicide, and at the same time, it is suicide.
But so's not being able to pay a fee for a player for 3 seasons.
I don't even think it's that. I think somebody put it on Twitter earlier. I can't remember who it was, but they put it on Twitter earlier. The thing that you've got to worry about more than anything is that it's not the players. The players are all right. The players have got money. The players will sort themselves out. They'll go somewhere. They'll get another club or whatever. It's the staff behind the scenes. These poor people that are working behind the scenes. they'll be worried how we're going to get paid now and things like that. The suppliers that are owed money, if they're local suppliers or small suppliers, these are the people that might not get the money, and it might make them go bust. And these are the things that are really, we don't think about it a lot as fans, but God, this people's livelihoods are on the line here, and this is the big problem: is that you're playing with people's lives when things like this happen.
I mean, obviously, we can only speculate on where a lot of the debt and everything is, what it's around. Obviously, we know about the late fee with Louis Barry, but I would say 95% of everything that's going on with these debts are stupid little deals and that we've got in player contracts that we've purchased from other clubs. It'll be something like, buy this player for 5 million. Hull City have only paid $1 million, but still owe 4 million. Oh, we can't pay you the 4 million because we've just looked at next season and spent 4 million. It's going to just keep spiraling down. And I mean, this is only speculation, but I would say 95% of it is coming from really big gambles in signing players the wrong way. It's been brought up in the past of how we do business and that. And this is what we were talking about earlier with respect to like the youth, and that we're going to have to start looking at the youth. Well, let's not forget, it was literally a season ago saying we weren't even focusing on the youth. Well, that's going to really bite you in the backside, isn't it? Because you've got no product coming through now to actually progress and potentially get a profit for.
I think that product happens, Chris, when you see as a youth team player that there's a way through to the first team, then that drives you more to be a better you. And,
well, there is now.
There is now, but there hasn't been, has there? So that's what you're saying at the moment, is that at the moment, because there's not been that looking like there's a way through to the first team, people maybe haven't had as big a drive as when your Jacob Greaves came through and things like that, because they knew that there was probably going to be a way through to the first team. Whereas, last couple of seasons, it's been, well, just buy somebody who's not going to bring me through. So, that then, does that make you try as hard? I don't know. And I might be wrong. I might be saying the wrong thing, but I think you need some sort of drive there to say that there is going to be something for you. And you see so many players that have been going out of the academy that you've watched over the years and you thought, well, they're quite a good player. And then they've gone and no end product, no fee for them or anything. So, that goes to show to me that there's just not been enough there to say to people in the academy that you've got a chance of making it into the first team here.
Yeah, and that's the worrying thing, because the academy is realistically what's probably kept this club afloat.
Yes, it is. It is for definite.
Jared Bowen obviously wasn't from Hull, but we recruited him into the academy when he was in the Premier League, and he probably got us through COVID, that sale under the Lambs, obviously, and despite the fact it relegated selling him, but in terms of financial sense, it probably saved us. And then you think to Jacob Greaves, Keane Lewis Potter, those two are pure profit. They've come up through the academy. We obviously have some very gifted youngsters in the academy. Brandon Fleming looked like he was promising at one point. You had Billy Chadwick, players like that, Ahmed Salam. These kind of players that have just kind of slipped through the net. And then, like we say, since I think one of the biggest worries was from the takeover was that the focus really did seem to shift away from the youth, and we decided to go for these overseas mercenaries, a lot of Turkish connections, Fenerbahce rejects.
Three of those that you've just mentioned, Ant, was training together at Soccer Kings, weren't they? A couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. Was it Fleming, Chadwick, and Lewis Potter?
Yeah, and I thought I've talked about him enough times on here. I thought Brandon Fleming had something about him. Billy Chadwick again, I thought he had something about him. And Lewis Potter's obviously got us a fair bit of cash, so they've all played together. They all still are playing together, albeit maybe a little bit of training, but they all still are obviously good friends and have come up together in a good academy setup that we had with a chance of coming through at that point. But as you say, this is the thing now. There is probably a chance again of people coming through, and we might see some of these boys actually making it to the first team, which I'll be quite proud of, to be honest, because I think you do get effort out of academy players, and that's maybe where we need to put our focus to at the moment, is that, because we may not have much else.
Yeah,
Well,
I think in terms of an embargo, I think the youth academy is definitely going to have to be used. And do you know who's really good at using youth players in a transfer embargo situation? Ruben Sellers.
I knew you were going to say it. I knew you were going to say it.
He had that in the top 6. I think Jakirovic didn't he have a transfer embargo wherever?
And move on. Don't talk about former players and managers.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Move on.
I mean,
Sorry,
this, we're not sitting here either and saying that every single Hull City Youth Academy player would have turned out to be as good as the likes of Lewis Potter. But the chance of finding one of those players at the minute for us is next to none, because there's none of them coming through. And our priority is, well, we'll just go find somebody from Turkey or from Portugal or from wherever and gamble, 20k a week on them and spend a couple of mil and
listen, I know that everybody was really, really hot on the Louis Barry transfer when he came in, and there was lots of people raving about him and things like that. My question would be, could there have been somebody from our academy that could have been, that Louis Barry in our side, and could we have brought somebody in instead of from the academy, instead of actually paying this £1 million loan fee that has put us so much, I can swear tonight, so much in the shit that's happened today.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's so nice hearing people other than me swear on here.
Two people now.
That Simpsons gif where they're just tapping the sofa saying "join us." That's Will right now.
I might stick this on the radio. I'm gonna have to go through it and edit all these swear words out before I do.
This is just fucking shit, isn't it?
Oh God, that's another 2 I've got to edit out now, Will.
It's
look, it's such a poor situation. It's one of those that when it first popped up on my screen, I thought, nah.
Yeah, that was the same.
That can't be true. It's a lie, surely. Like, because
you say that when I saw it, I looked at it and went, you know what? That actually doesn't surprise me.
No, I get it from that sense. But what I'm saying, I'll reword it then. Actually, so would we be just sort of as reactive if Adjan had actually sat there in the Q&A? Would we have preferred him to sit there in the Q&A and say, yeah, actually, I might have fucked up a little bit and I'm looking for some outside investors?
You know what? Yeah, I would rather have done that.
So I am here, but I agree. Yeah, I would have more than happily had him turn around and say, look, there is stuff going on in the background.
Yeah.
We don't have as much available as you all are hoping.
Honesty is the best policy. Simple as.
Definitely.
Look, you don't have to tell us absolutely everything, as in, no, you don't have to tell us how much and where it's gone and who's what's owed or whatever. You don't have to do that, but you do have to have some sort of clarity and expectation, not promise and say it's all fine. You can't do that to your fan base, because owners, our owner, I'm not going to say owners, I do not want to put other owners in the category of Adjan, but our owner wants to be the face. He wants to be in there. He wants the celebrity status. I've got Sky following me for a year because they think I'm
I was about to say, what you mean, the one who wants the documentary, not on Hull City, but on how Adjan runs a football
club. How is the documentary going right now, Adjan? Because I'll tell you something, this will be a great section.
I think it's a fantastic first episode.
What's the first episode going to be like there? It's going to be, oh yeah, and Adjan had a Q&A and he told all the fans were great. Meanwhile, 3 days later, absolutely fucked.
It would be like starting Game of Thrones with the Red Wedding.
It's just absolutely
not seen Game of Thrones. I don't know what it's about.
No one's seen it anymore because it ruined itself.
Yeah, the last season ruined it. It was a bit like Lost. It was great forever, and then it got to the last episode and went, "Oh crap, see ya." All right. Anyway,
I would like to point out as well. There's been a few comments tonight about the fact that every single club that Adrian's been involved in the past. I think Bentos might have put a comment in if you can put them teams back in again, likes of Fortuna Sittard and Shelbourne and all them other teams. That actually did come out and warn us that Adrian does this,
yeah,
and we all kept on batting back, saying, "Nah, he's obviously got the best interests of the club at heart. He would never do anything like this. He'd never put the financial jeopardy of the club at sale. He knows what he's doing. He just wants to get us promoted. He loves the club. He loves the fans. He loves the city." And then when you think back now, when you look at everything that's happened since the takeover, do we all look a bit daft now?
I think the thing with it is that anybody who actually had, a little bit of still backing a John after today, surely nobody can back him now. There can't be anybody left there who still thinks that, he's running the club well and things like that. They can't be, can they? Am I right? Am I wrong?
I would say in regards to were we wrong when he took over? I would say context matters a lot in that, because a lot of people were happy he came purely because it was the end of a regime that was disastrous for the club itself. So I get why a lot of people at the time was happy with change. Maybe a vain hope.
The thing that the good thing that he's done since he came on is he's actually got a massive fan base back watching games at the MKM Stadium, and to see over 20,000, I think it is average last season, is amazing.
It was just over 21,000 last season, which
just over 21, which is amazing, Will, isn't it? If we look back, to 2021. You would have loved to have seen that many fans in the stadium, and we never dreamed that by 2025 there would be that sort of average back in the stadium.
I can't remember exactly which season it was, but there was that point during the boycott years where it officially was less than 10,000, but it was clearly, if you looked at it, a lot less than 10,000, close to 5.
Yeah, it was, and so that's the thing that he has actually done well. It'll be interesting to see probably how many memberships get cancelled over the next few days. He'll be hoping that doesn't happen, because that'll mean even more financial instability for the club. So, it's difficult being a Hull City fan, and I don't know where it's going to go, and I don't think any of us on here, I don't think anybody watching could say where it's going to go. It's one of them where we're all going to sit back and we're all going to watch, and we're all just going to have to find out what happens.
It's one of those where you don't really want to think about where it's going to go.
No, you're right, Will. You're right.
I mean, what do we think in terms of fan opinion on Adrian? Is it completely swayed now? Because I feel like it's been 50-50 for the last 12 months or so now.
I've been very mistrusting of Adrian for a while now. I have not trusted him for a while.
The thing with it is, Will, is you get a bit more opportunity than maybe we do with what you do on a match day. So you probably see a lot more than what we do behind the scenes. So you've probably got a bit better insight in than us.
Possibly. That's possibly true.
It's one of those.
He'll never say, Will. He's lips.
Listen, I wouldn't expect him to say, but that's what I'm saying is that, when you get into that area that Will goes to every game, you do get to find a few more things out than what we do. Ultimately,
it's all off the record.
No, of course.
Yeah.
I realise that, but the thing with it is that obviously, we're all fans. I know you're a fan as well, Will, and you just get to do the job that you're doing. But ultimately, we're fans of the club, and we're all desperate for the club to succeed. And we don't want to see the club in this situation that it's in at the moment. We desperately want to see it in a better situation than it is. But I think we've all got to be realistic now and realise that as I say, I can't see that anybody has any faith in the owner after today's announcement. If they have, then they may be going on holiday to Turkey.
Did Adrian steal my favourite word?
Say that again, Will.
Did Adrian steal his new favourite word from me? Because that's my favourite word secret, clearly.
Like, look, I'm going to just use my opinion, my perspective, I guess, because it's the only way we can go, isn't it? All personal views.
Yeah.
Christian, go on.
Look, I was 50-50 throughout. I have been 50-50 throughout all, some of the things I've always questioned, such as his private scouting team, that I just think is ridiculous. These 3 private scouts that he's got, because they just seem to only look at Fenerbahce. I think he's gambling. The way he purchases people is being extremely poor throughout his ownership. I think his management decisions, other than obviously, I'd say Ruben was right to get into fixing man management. I'd say Rossi should have been, I guess, continued. However, I still think Rossi would have had a hard time with the team that he would have had to have the season after. Tim was just the worst thing I've ever seen, and I don't rate any of the other managers, obviously, apart from Sergei that we've got right now.
Yes, I can see Tim right now sat there in his turtleneck like a proper Bond villain with his pint, just laughing all the way to the bank.
Yep. And guess what? Guess where half the debts have come from getting rid of your managers and having to pay out £2 million, £3 million every time you get rid of one 6 months later, because you've signed them on 4-year deals and told a manager that was taking over a team at the bottom of the league that you want to go into playoffs. Come on. I mean, it's silly. The one thing, though, that I will back him up, and this is the only thing I will back him up, he obviously does want Premiership. It's obvious he does. But does he know how to get there?
Listen, Chris,
no,
every
owner wants
the Premier League. If you're an owner of a football club and you're not vying to try and get your team to the Premier League, then
but there's ways of doing it. Yeah, that's it. There's ways of doing it, and that's
there's different. The ones who are normally successful are the ones who actually plan it.
Yeah,
not the ones
and he's going in
try and throw them to the Premier League.
You've got to build on a good foundation, and one thing that he did. One thing he's not done is built on that foundation. He's gone down there and he's got his digger out and he's dug the foundations up.
I saw it mentioned on Twitter earlier about someone tweeted, I can't remember who it was, tweeted about how we were in such a good spot when he took over the club, just fresh out of League One. It was a clean slate for the club essentially in the squad. It's a great place to build a foundation on, but as you say, it's just been torn apart almost straight away.
Yeah.
And that first summer was horrendous. I think it was probably a bad thing that he inherited the club in such a good financial position, because it probably then gave him a bit of leeway to go absolutely batshit crazy in that summer transfer window when we brought in the likes of. I mean, that first summer window, hardly any of those players were any form of success. I think only 2 fan from memory, maybe. There'll probably be another couple, but the likes of Ebue, Pelkas, and Tete, and all those other players that came in at the same time, Figueiredo, and then half those players weren't even there the next season, and that's been the pattern. Every single transfer window, we bring in loads of players, and then they'll not play for us again 6 months later. And the squad from summer to summer is from 1 to 40 odd or whatever it is that we've got, completely different. But even that isn't the thing that's annoyed me or worried me the most. I think what we're looking at it wrong. So when you're a fan of a football club, right, and Adrian's sort of built himself up to be this really open, honest, transparent guy who's always going to keep fans in the loop and let us know what's going on and call these random Q&As midweek to sell us his story and whatever, which you can respect. If he actually came out and said any word of truth, How can you trust the man who runs your football club on a day-to-day basis when he constantly sits in front of us, constantly spouts to the national media lies? There's no way that
It's
you can
the
move
lies.
forward as a football club.
Speaking on that, I just noticed a comment earlier. The council meeting that Adrian suggested was happening today about the academy moving. That
It
is
hasn't happened.
interesting. I wonder if that's exactly. I wonder how that's gone down. It hasn't, clearly. There's no way it has.
Yeah, well, we've had nothing, so that's probably telling. And there hasn't even been the usual voices even mention anything about it. Nothing from any local journals or anything that have even said that there'd be an update regarding it. There's been nothing in that sense.
It's
that pause in the Q&A.
Yeah, it's a good point. Is that
Sherman?
That is definitely him being told about the EFL fee or whatever coming in on him.
The fine.
Or is it even that? Is it just him putting on a show? This is what I mean. This is where
I don't think it is, because why would he make anything look bad?
Because Adrian's clearly very good at trying to make any bad situation look very good.
Well, it doesn't look very good. There's
He's
no way
done
of
that
making
since
it
he's
doesn't
taken
look very
over.
good.
And there's
Not
no
at the
way
minute.
of
I don't
making it look
quite
good.
think he can even by his PR standards. I don't think he can spin this one in any positive way, shape. He'll come out and say he's paid it, and he can't understand why he's still.
He has. No, that's the thing. He's paid it, and that's why they're going to try and appeal all this. I mean, the only thing is I can say is there's an opportunity for the appeal to be like, okay, but I don't see it happening. I mean, well, of course, an appeal's not going to go our way. So,
listen, they haven't just got concerns over this one payment.
No, it's not even
the concerns are not over one payment. The concerns are over the financial stability of Hull City and what they want to.
It's not just payments to clubs; it's payments to multiple clubs. It's payments to local suppliers.
Yeah,
it's payments to with other creditors completely, and we don't know exactly what they are. So it's not a one-off thing. It's something the clubs are doing multiple times over and over, knowing that they are not things that they should be doing.
There's one thing that triggers these actions, but ultimately there's a lot of things before this happens. There's lots of other things that happen before this actually happens. So it is very worrying that we only know about this one thing that's happened, this late payment and things like that. But it's what we don't know is, I think, the frightening thing.
Yeah, I think the one thing we need to do. I mean, we're not an owner, so I can't tell them what to do. But if the rumor of, say, we were looking at spending $7 million on oh God, I've already forgotten his name after all this crap today. That striker. Yeah, thank you.
In the rigging.
Yeah, I think what we would need to do is, all right, we need strikers. Yeah, we still need a left back. I think our sights are we're gonna have to look lower, a lot lower, and whatever, which is an obvious thing, obviously. But that money that you were floating about $7 million, you just need to go ahead and just get us back into the green, really. Pay off all your creditors, pay off all your debts. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that your debts will be more than $7 million.
You see, the problem with this, Chris, is that I don't even think he's got the money to pay off these debts. He made it when somebody asked the question about why he wanted investment into the club. He played that down massively as well.
Yeah,
and he wanted investment into the club.
Very politicians answer that one.
Yeah, he hasn't got any bloody money. I've just said, you look at the clubs, you look at who owns clubs in the country and things like that. If you look at £200 million, it's not any money to own a club that's losing £14 million a year. You can't sustain that when you've only got 200 million yourself in assets. That's his assets. So, he's got properties, he's got this, he's got that. All these assets are worth £200 million. That doesn't mean he's got £200 million to spend. It means that his assets are that. How much has he got to spend? It's not going to be anything. It's probably got what we owe him at the moment. He's probably got 60 million quid.
Yeah.
And that is the problem, is that he's floating massively just on the edge of this money that he's got all the time. And he's been taking us to the brink all the time and then getting some good sponsorship deals. But then when you lose one of them sponsorship deals, that's the point where it becomes more difficult to pay the people that you need to pay on time.
Say, yeah, lose a £1 million deal, you can't pay for a Louis Barry loan fee.
No.
So,
And I don't know how. From what I've seen, he was trying to do a deal on the Barry thing, whereas when we buy him, I don't know whether it was sort of tie into the deal, the £1 million loan fee. And I think this is where it's gone wrong from what I can work out, is that he's trying to tie the £1 million loan fee into the sale. And then it's all gone pear-shaped for whatever reason. I don't know whether it's because the founder hadn't got enough money for it or whatever. I'm not sure. But something's gone wrong on that deal, which has caused the shit to hit the fan.
Because he doesn't have a clue what he's doing. There's absolutely no way that someone who is in charge of running a football club would think it's sane to agree to pay £1 million for a loan fee for a player. Try and buy that
for 4 months.
Yeah, try and sign that very same player in summer after not paying the £1 million loan fee you've agreed to do, and then turn it around by saying, "Oh yeah, I'll pay it in this deal if you let us buy it." That is absolutely that just sums him up as a person. That is a really weird. And this is the guy that's head of our football club. That's what's currently in charge of everything Hull City.
It's a worrying time again to be a Hull City fan. We've gone through it all before. The one thing that I will say on the podcast tonight is that, we're always united as Hull City fans in times of war. So I'm sure that, this will help to unite the City fans together, and hopefully, we can all come through it stronger and still have a club to be talking about. Because I think when you look at things that have gone wrong for other clubs in the past, there's some of these clubs that aren't in business anymore. The main worry that I have is that I don't want Hull City to go out of business. I want us to stay in business, and I want us to still be here because, I think I said to Lee earlier, I've been watching them for about 45 years now. And they've been the bane of my life for 45 years, but I don't want it to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point, that, because I was going to mention that earlier. I think that there's been a lot of, especially amongst the fan base. I mean, I'm not afraid to say on here. There's been a lot of division amongst a lot of people. There's been a lot of people that maybe have looked at it from what the owner says rather than what the owner does. There's been a lot of people that have looked at what the club's been doing, and pointing out flaws and stuff, and it's caused a lot of division. I think it's something like this now. I think people are starting, that wool's been pulled from the eyes, curtains have been opened, whatever phrase you want to use for it. And I do think there's a lot of people now starting to realise, and I think there is a bit more unification.
A lot more eyes open.
So yeah, if there's going to be any form of positive that you can find from this situation, is that it might be that the vast majority of the City fan base might now actually be a lot more together and unified, like you said. So, but I think that we've pretty much covered anything that we can do. I mean, we haven't officially been given the embargo yet. We are waiting for it, I believe.
Friday will be announced by the EFL.
Yeah.
There's been too many people that are a lot more in the know than wearing tweeting about it today for it not to be coming in tomorrow. So I think we all know that it's going to happen, as you say. It's just that nobody's in the office at the EFL until 9 o'clock in the morning to press that button.
Right. So, yeah, go on, Will.
I was going to give my just two little thoughts on it all as the end. As you all said about the divisive fans, yeah, we all want the best for Hull City, whatever side we're on, really, and we all want to buy into the dream. But how can you support when you support this club of all clubs? Have any total faith in an owner, considering what this club has been through multiple times over and over in its history with owners? it can never. You can no matter what intentions, how good the intentions seem. Never assume full certainty that they're legitimate. And the second thing is, go and get the tennis balls ready because I think we're going to need them.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting.
I think it'll be more turkey flags, won't it?
Yeah, I think it'd be very interesting to see what the club come out in terms of like a statement or comment or.
Listen, you've got to feel sorry for somebody behind the scenes because somebody behind the scenes is going to have to put this together and put out a statement tomorrow for everybody.
A lot of people behind the scenes I'm worried about.
Yeah, no, there's a lot. I mean, you know, we've all dealt with most of the people that are behind the scenes, you know, and they're all good guys behind the scenes. At Hull City,
great
we've got
people
some
there.
really nice staff at Hull City that always have time for the fans, always try the best for the fans, and it's those people. And as I say, those people, the local suppliers, the small suppliers and things like that, they're the people that I feel for after tonight's announcement because they're the ones that are going to suffer the most.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
kebabs, that's a good one, James. Yeah, get the kebabs ready. I'm not wasting a kebab.
I'll throw a gyros and Efes on the pitch. So I think that obviously, well, what time we are now? We're nearly midnight. I think there's been a lot of people tuning in tonight. We've probably covered about as much as we can on this subject before.
For 9 more minutes, and we'll be hitting the deadline live.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm getting absolutely. And I've got to be at a wedding tomorrow, so I'll leave you three on if you want to carry on. But
listen. It's coming up to midnight. I just want to say thanks to everybody for watching tonight. You know, it's been really short notice and really good of you to tune in. Hope you've enjoyed the episode because you know, as much as we didn't want to have to do the episode tonight, we do enjoy doing it. Will, don't lie.
Yeah, no, thanks to everybody who tuned in and obviously watched. Look, we're all in the same boat together. We all are frustrated or do you know what? We want answers and we're all looking everywhere for answers. Look, we're all in it together. So guys, thank you for tuning in. Like, subscribe, because we're probably going to be doing a lot more of this at the moment because if you don't subscribe, I guarantee you're going to miss out on some of these comments that are going to be getting flown about. So yeah, everybody here, thank you.
720 odd live viewers I think we had at peak tonight. So everybody's jumped on, especially at this time of night, is choosing to listen to us or ahead of going to sleep or doing something remotely fun is commendable in the start. And obviously pressing like and subscribe is completely free for us and it just helps grow the channel and things like that. So if you haven't enjoyed it, even if you haven't enjoyed it, let us know in the comments. We've had enough of it before. We've got thick skin. We know how to deal with it. Let us know. But anybody thank you for tuning in. Will, Adi, and Christian, I think you was just about to drop something before we finish.
Oh no, I was just going to say if someone's got 66 million spare, send it my way and I'll
any local businessman, if you've got a pretty penny and you want to just
save us.
But yeah, thanks to everybody that's tuning in. Remember, we've been sponsored by Old Zoological Bar and Kingfisher Fish and Chips on Springbank West. This has been the Turmoil Podcast. I've been Ant. There's Will, Adi, and Christian on tonight. Thank you for everybody that's joining in, and we'll see you all next time. Thanks, everybody.
Cheers, guys. Sati, bye. If Will knows how to end the stream, that is.
Of course I know how to end the